Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. We've got the 7th war of the season right now. This was the Thanksgiving war, which, I really don't love that they have war seasons going over holidays, but I guess the game just continues and not everybody is from the United States, so I understand they just keep the war season rolling. But this one was on Thursday and Friday of this week, which wasn't ideal for a lot of our schedules, and it ended up being a really close war, and I had some ups and downs. So let's check out this first Terrax fight. I've taken him on the second node of Path 4A. This is the first one, which I've stated before. This one has a more punishing Fury because you get the passive Fury from the node, but you also get the active Fury, which is a 240% Fury. So I am intentionally taking a little bit of the rock field damage just because I don't want to get cornered. I think the way that you lose this fight is if you lose the spacing on the battlefields, and I was perfectly happy to use some potions a little bit later, and I healed up a little bit on that fatigue anyway. To me, that is worth using a little bit of health just to make sure that you are staying aggressive and in the fight. So that one went fine, no hitches there. So here we have a Domino, and it's kind of the same thing that you would put a Terrax on this path because Domino's crit fail is going to also scale with the Fury and everything. So I'm bringing in Ultron because, as you're going to see here, he is not immune to crit fail, but he practically will never crit fail because all of his functions are able to proc with 100% ability accuracy, and it can't be reduced. So really the only things that can proc crit fail is like a dex buff or a parry failing, and for the most part I'm playing contactless, kind of like I did on node 25 a few wars ago. I'm just doing the sidestep light intercept technique, which is pretty much always guaranteed to land when you're fighting Domino. So yeah, I'm not even really playing Ultron as Ultron. I'm just playing him as a class advantage, high damage tech champion who has good animations for Domino. That's essentially what I'm doing here. So, I don't really cash in my heavy attack. I don't really throw special 2s. I'm only using my special 1, which is, again, just going to give her some distance. And like I said, with these types of nodes where they get these big furies, you want to just be in control. So I want to stay on her half of the field the whole time. That was a little dicey there. If you didn't know, her stun debuff is a little bit shorter when she's lucky, and I didn't catch that, but didn't get punished, and it all ended up being fine. So yeah, right about now, this would have been a good time to like parry and heavy attack, but I just kind of stuck to the game plan that I had at the beginning, which was like special 1s and doing side steps and things like that. Right there, we triggered an evade, which happened by accident. Again, I could have heavied there, but I decided to just finish her off this way, and not the end of the world. So she's not going to quite degen out. One more hit and she goes down. That was the only fight I was using Ultron for, and I just sort of opted for safety. So we took the boss down, and then I ended up moving on to section 2. There were a lot of high ground defenders, including the MODOK on node 25, that we wanted to get the boss down first, and none of us in the middle had mini boss duties, so it kind of worked out that we were able to take these next set of nodes without high ground. And for path 4 it doesn't matter, but I do have a Prof X at the end. So here is the Void on the map. He's again on path 4. Elsa is a perfect counter. I've got my tech boost on ready for Warlock a little bit later. And I did some duels right before this, but I was actually the last person to fight. So the boss had gone down, and these were the last 3 fights. So there was a little bit of pressure, I will say, going into these fights. But with Void, even if things go wrong, I do feel like Elsa is always going to end up on top in this type of matchup. So everything's going fine. He throws his heavy attack. We catch it in time. This is what I love to do. If you do all your combos and you throw a special 1, it's going to get to 20 combo, but it doesn't matter anyway because we cancel it out with our Purify. So we're unblockable. We're doing plenty of damage. Don't want to push his power too high. He's basically dead. Just going to throw this, and this should kill him. So yeah, I boosted pretty big because the war was close. Definitely boosted more than I normally would for a Void, but there were some tricky fights also coming up. So once again, doing what we're supposed to do. I've got the invuln going, heal all the way to full. Like I'm playing to win here. Like these are important fights, And once again, I'm playing to win. So I've taken this fight twice this season so far, and it's gone off without a hitch. And, you know, the key is landing your first well-timed block and then just going from there. But the AI had some different ideas. So right here, she staggers, and my well-timed block doesn't land. So she's already unblockable. Now she's walking up to me, and she just threw a light attack into me right there while she was unblockable. So I'm not feeling too good about this, and because of Mystic Dispersion and stuff, and the fact that I'm unblockable, you know, I was attempting to hit her block to push her back, but made a mistake. Once again, I think I dexed really well there, but somehow she clipped me. So I think there were like 2 or 3 times where the AI or input issues ended up having me get clipped on dexes in that fight at the beginning. And so now I'm taking a special 3. I'm trying to recenter myself because I'm pretty sure this isn't going to kill me. And if it doesn't kill me, it means I get a second chance. So I'm looking, I still have a little bit of health, and I panic special a special 1, and that's going to kill me right there. I woke up from that special 1, from that special 3, and I was pretty sure that she was still unblockable, and I just kind of panicked through it, and that was a huge mistake because I think I could have salvaged that fight. So really bad attack bonus given up there. This is a fight where Elsa is a good counter, and even with that like AI nonsense at the beginning, which I do blame on something besides me, it's like there were 3 instances of AI going a little haywire and the game not responding the way that I thought it would. But as you can see there, the last half of her health, that's what I was expecting. That's what's always happened when I've gone into that fight. I'm very comfortable with Elsa, so I really don't know how I botched that fight. But either way, I was not feeling good, and this Warlock fight is, I probably should have taken another breather before going in, but, you know, spoiler alert, this one actually went super well. I had the Hawks pre-fight and everything so that I was able to parry, even though there was Mighty Charge. So I'm just going to let it play in the background because there's not much to see here. I pretty much played this thing perfectly. Just kind of dex, like used our the special recovery to trigger the miss and everything, landed intercepts every once in a while. Everything was great. So, but I do want to talk a little bit about this pressure that we all put on ourselves when it comes to Alliance War. And, you know, we ended up losing this war, and it was super close. And because I was the last person to fight, it felt a little bit like I cost us the war. And, you know, I know my friends, like everyone said, no, it's not you. There were deaths before, like the other BGs had like other deaths that they had accounted for that like shouldn't have happened. And there were some other little things like that. But of course, like there's not much consoling that somebody can do when you still feel that way and you feel like you could have clutched a win and you didn't, especially when you're using a champ that you're really comfortable with on a fight that you've taken before in the season. And yeah, so needless to say, like I had to kind of have like a little bit of a mental health moment here because like it definitely hurts when that happens and when there's 29 other guys depending on you. But like I will say like I did shake it off fairly quickly because at the end of the day, you know, like I said, there were other deaths. Like it doesn't always come down to just one person needing to clutch it. Of course, I should have won the fight if all things were equal. But, you know, I'm not going to get too down on myself over that. It is just a game at the end of the day. And you know, I do think I tried my best going into that fight. I think some of my decisions toward the end of the fight is what led to the death on top of some of the input issues. So anyway, I would just encourage anybody else who's in a similar position to know that, you know, in general, your battle group mates are on your side and they want you to succeed. And, you know, it's probably happened to them in one way or another in the past. And we've all kind of shared this feeling before. So even though it got pretty dark for a while, I'm doing better now. And, you know, hopefully I can try to not just like panic when I get into these situations in the fights. A few people have recommended, you know, you can always just pause the game, take a breather, you know, and go back into it with a new strategy because sometimes stuff like that happens that's unexpected and you can't really deal with it. So anyway, didn't mean to give all the life lessons in the middle of this war video, but I was kind of excited to use Ultron. And, you know, some of the fights that I had today went pretty well. I just wish I could get that one back. and kind of get this season back on track. I've had some other deaths that kind of looked like that this season that I'm not too proud of, and you know, we move on and we just live through it. So thanks for checking out this video. I hope you had a great holiday, and I will catch you in the next one.